Harrison is a soccer town, and few people would dispute this simple fact. With this study, we wanted to see if Harrison High School is in fact a soccer school. If we are a soccer school, then just how popular is the sport? And if not, what sport takes the throne away from soccer? Well, the main reason for this question is to sate our own curiosity. This does tell us what games the students of HHS are more likely to attend. The second question was mainly used to see how many people were to buy the many products available at the games they go to. The amount of money one brings with them greatly influences what and how much they buy. We could use this information to assume that people who bring more money are more likely to buy, whether it be food and drink or foam fingers and the many other trinkets that the vendors sell. The graph and chart both tell us the exact same thing. Soccer is the most popular sport in the school. Out of the 188 people we surveyed, 71 said that soccer is their favorite sport. Surprisingly enough, volleyball was the second most popular sport, with basketball coming in third. Other may have had the second highest rank, but since it represents multiple sports, it cannot be counted. Using this data, we can conclude that the rest of the school would follow a similar trend. This gives us evidence that Harrison High School is most likely a soccer school. Now, this data could change if more people's responses were added. We can, however, assume that while there would be some changes, the changes would most likely be relatively small. For example, there's a very small chance that soccer would end up last, just as there is a very small chance that baseball would end up first. All in all, this provided evidence for our theory about Harrison High School being a soccer school while providing information about the popularity of other sports.
This dataset displays the results for our survey. The histograms positively skewed to the right. Most people bring between $0 to $26.92 or an average of $39.13. Typically, most HHS students bring $20 to a sporting event, proven by the mode. In addition, many people said they bring $0 to $30, that is not 20, which is why the bar for 0 to 26.92 is high compared to the rest. The range of the data surprised me because I expected a maximum of 150, not 300. I also didn't expect standard deviation to be higher than the mean, but this makes sense due to the wide range of the data. A survey was made in 2019 about Americans' favorite sports. 37% of 2019 respondents said football was their favorite sport. 37.8% of HHS students said soccer was their favorite sport. 17.6% of HHS students said volleyball was their favorite sport, while 16% of adults in 2019 said baseball was their favorite. 9% of HHS students said basketball was their favorite, while 12% of adults in 2019 said basketball was their favorite. So both graphs show similar results for basketball. 23.9% of HHS students said other, and 23% of adults in 2019 said they don't have a favorite sports, and 2% said they don't know/no opinion. The least favored sports for both graphs were 5 to 7%. The sports chosen were very different since most sports were noticeably higher, lower percentage than the other survey except for basketball and other/none, which were very similar percentages for both surveys. For the HHS survey, soccer is the most favored sport and football is one of the least with 6.4%. For the 2019 study, football is most favorite sport among adults and soccer is one of the least with 5%. However, the percentages produced from both surveys were almost identical, especially with both surveys having their highest percentage being about 37%. We also included volleyball and the other survey didn't, but instead had hockey. The 2019 survey also had an extra variable, which was don't know/no opinion.
Datasets may seem like they're not related, when in reality they could tell us much about each other. We could assume that most, if not all, of the money spent came from people outside the school. Referencing the chart from our previous question only helps confirm this, as only a small amount of the total population would watch the games with intent to spend. The students would not spend this much money, nor would they contribute much to the average amount spent. Our graph, seen left, of the money brought to the sporting events is unimodal and positively skewed, while the graph of the average amount spent is relatively uniform. This only brings the difference in range into perspective. Our graph has a high range of 300. The second graph only has a range of 17.94. Now, our graph also has 4 gaps, while the second has none. This may seem like a minor detail, and to some it is, but to us it shows just how consecutive both graphs are. The second graph shows that every year at least $71.51 was spent. Our graph has no such thing. There are spots of no data, and there is no guarantee that people will bring a given amount of money. The median of our graph is 20, while the median of the second graph is 81. This gives us perspective of the difference in data. 20 is a small number compared to the highest of 323. The reverse is seen in the second graph, as 81 is not that far away from 89. We believe that expanding on the study would be beneficial in order to answer the questions that our study brought up. These questions include what students tend to buy at sporting events. Is there any particular reason that so many students didn't bring money? Did students buy more food or more souvenirs? If this was a long-term study, we would have liked to see if people's spending habits changed over time. It would also be interesting to see if their favorite sport changed and if that affected their spending in any way. At this point in time, we are happy with the data gathered by the survey. We have answered our primary questions and have what we need to move forward if we wish to do so.